Hi, this is Archon Lacrosse, and in this video tutorial I will be showing you the simple stringing of a lacrosse head. Here we have a Proton Power, and we have some new Archon Apache 15 mesh, which is vulcanized. It has a nice grippy feel to it. This actually comes in half vulcanized versions too, where only one side is vulcanized to keep that traditional mesh feel. The actual vulcanization process gives the mesh a little bit of elasticity, which propels the ball on shots and cushions it on saves and catches. It's also waterproof. It retains its pocket very well. Basically just blows wax mesh out of the water in every way, and traditional mesh. I truly advise it for anyone wanting a better pocket. It will definitely give you a better pocket. You will definitely be pleased with it. So anyways, to start off, you want to stretch out your mesh. And I've already done this. I'll show you what I did. I grabbed the mesh. It looked like this at first. Then I just grabbed the sides and pulled each side all the way down to the other end. Then once I got that stretched out, I rolled it up in a pretty tight roll, just like that. Grab the ends, give it a little tug. Also, to make your mesh a little softer, twist it. So you give it a twist, and you want to twist it almost as hard as you can in both directions. Okay, so now we've gotten it twisted. It's going to be a little bit softer. We want to unroll it again and roll it back up the opposite way with the other side. Once we have it rolled up, we're going to find the holes on the ends, open them up a little bit. We're going to stick our thumb in each end and just start bending it. Twist, bend, twist, bend, twist, bend, and just repeat this a number of times. What this is doing is it's creating a channel that is just going to naturally form in your pocket when you start stringing. Okay, that should be good. Now when we unravel it, you can see the channel is already there. See? Right here. Okay? So now you have to find the end with 9 diamonds, which I believe is this end here. If you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's the side you want. And this side ends up having 10 diamonds, which you do not want. Let's double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Correct? So you do not want this side for the reason that the 9 diamond side is going to produce a tighter top. And when you're stringing, you want everything to be tight and taut to make your consistency much better. So this is going to give you a tighter top string. I want to stretch that out a little bit. So now we have our general shape of the mesh. It's all stretched out and ready to be strung. So we take our head now, we take our top, very first top string, and we're actually going to do a figure 8 knot. I'm not really sure what the name of the knot is called. I just call it the 8er. So we're going to do an 8er, just like this. I'll do it again slowly. So we have it straight. Wrap it around one time, like that. Around, then through the loop, like that. And it should look like that. When we pull it tight, it cinches together. Okay, I'm going to show you one more time on a larger scale. So you have a big loop, wrap it around from the top, because it's on the top right now, to the bottom, and through the top of the loop. Just like that. Let me cinch it up. We want to leave about an inch of excess. And as you cinch it up, it's going to keep that figure 8 design unless you take your fingers and push it up towards the end with the excess. And as you do that, it's going to make the knot rounder and wider. And the reason why you want it rounder and wider is it'll keep it from going through the hole much easier. Okay, so now we have this nice round knot. And that's what we're going to be using throughout the stringing process. Okay, so we take our first string, our head and our mesh, and we're going to go through the very first hole on the head, very first hole on the top right of the head, right here. Okay, so we just go through that hole, pull it tight. Now the very top right hole of the mesh, which is the hole right here, we're going to go from face, which is this side, face, to back, which is the back of the head. So face to back through the mesh and pull it tight. Now we're going to go back through that same hole that we went through the first time. And then back again through from the face to the back of that same top right hole in the mesh. And as you pull it tight, it should cinch up right up to the plastic. Just like that. Okay? Now, we move on to the next knot. The next knot is going to be going on the next diamond hole directly to the left of the hole that we just went through. So this is the hole we just went through right here. Now we're going to go through this one right there. But first, you need to recognize a pattern. And the pattern is plastic, mesh, mesh, plastic. And what that means is first, we go from back to front through the plastic, through this first hole, back to front, pull it tight. Now, you don't want to pull it too tight, you want to leave some slack. This little loop right here, you want to leave that little loop. So we've gone through the plastic. Now we're going to go through the mesh from front to back in that second hole. So go through the mesh, through the loop that we just created, pull that tight. Now we want to make sure that both the front of this knot, right here, this line, and this line are straight up and down. And the reason why we want them straight up and down is because when we do the second part of this knot, we want the second part of the knot to be parallel with the first part, which I'll show you in a second. So, we've done PM, plastic mesh. Now we're going to do mesh again, PMM. So we're going to go from back to front through the same hole that we just went through the mesh. And again, we're going to leave some slack, leave a little loop. And we're going to come back through the plastic now, which is the final step of the PMMP combination. So we go back through the same hole. If I can get this. There we go. Back through the same hole, through the loop we created. And we want to keep tension on that previous knot that we're holding. And we're doing that with our left hand. We want to keep tension, but keep that loop open at the same time. We're going to pull that tight, keep as much tension as we can, slowly cinch it up. Now we're going to rotate our hand, grab the rope, grip it real tight, and rotate clockwise, then counterclockwise. And this is what's going to tighten up the knot, tighten it up the best. Now to check if you did it right, if you turned it over, and look at here, these should be relatively close together. You should see a barely a little bit of mesh in between. The closer they are, the better, the tighter the knot is. Okay, so for the next knot, we're going to do the same pattern, the PMMP pattern, but we're going to skip the third diamond from the right. So we're going to skip this diamond here, and we're going to go straight into this diamond. So again, we go plastic, leave a loop. Here's our loop right here, right there. Through the mesh from face to back. Pull it tight. Hold the tension with your left hand now to keep the knot from loosening. We're going to go back through the mesh, from back to front through the same hole. Hold open that loop again. And then we're going to go front to back through the same plastic hole that we just went through. And we're going to pull that tight. And rotate counterclockwise and clockwise to cinch that up. Okay, now we're going to check to see how strong our knot is. Looks pretty good. It's about the same as the last knot. And the reason you want these knots so tight is because it helps with the consistency. And consistency is everything in a lacrosse stick. If you don't have a consistent lacrosse stick, you might as well just be throwing with a girl's stick or something in men's lacrosse. It's just not something you want to be doing. So really make those knots tight. You don't want anything loose in there. So again, we just did the same process through the next one. We just skipped one hole. Cinched it up tight. Check out how we did this one. This one would seem to be a little bit tighter than the rest of them, but it's still pretty close. We'll cinch it over a little bit, make it more even. There we go. Looks the same as the other ones. Now we skip one more hole. We go to the last plastic hole on the top of the head. And again, we go plastic, back to front, mesh, front to back, cinch it up. Hold the tightness with your left hand while you thread through the same hole, mesh back to front, and then again plastic front to back. And then through the loop that you're holding open. Make it tight. Check to see how the knot went. Very good. And now to finish off the top string, we're going to do the exact same thing that we did here, just the opposite. So we're going to go from back to front through this final hole, from inside to outside of this top hole right here, from inside to outside. Pull that through. Then we're going to wrap it around again, back to front through the same hole, right here, same hole. And then again, from inside to out of that very top hole right here, we're going to go through. Then once it's through, you can cinch it up tight and it'll pull the mesh right up to the plastic. You want to get that as tight as possible. Just like that. And then to finish it off, we're just going to do a conventional knot. And we're going to cinch it up as tight as possible and as close as possible to the plastic. So we're going to hold on to it as long as we can while we're cinching it up and sort of push it down into the plastic while we pull. This will make for a very tight top string. Okay, so there's your top string. Okay, now we got to cut this top string. We're going to cut right about an inch out. You're going to want to burn the strings because you don't want them to fray unless that's the style you're looking for, which some people like. Now the top string is done. Okay, next we do the sidewalls. So you find your sidewall string, do the 8er knot again. I'll show you in slow motion again. So you make one loop where it's going over, wrap it around the bottom, and through the top of the loop. Just like that. And then cinch it up tight. And that's what it should look like. Okay. So now we're going to make a slight channel in this pocket. So we're going to start 2 holes down. On the 3rd hole, here's the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd. So we're going to go from the outside to the inside of the 3rd hole down and pull that through. We're going to find the first open hole that does not have a thick piece of mesh in between it. So what I'm saying is this piece right here, this piece right here is thinner than this piece right here. And you want to find the first diamond with the thin piece, like this. You don't want to be going through this diamond here. You want to be going through that diamond there. Okay? And you're going to go from front to back. So, from front to back, through the hole, pull it tight, and then again, just like we did the top string, we're going to go back through the same hole in the plastic. And then again, we're going to come back from front to back through the same hole in the mesh. And then again, this is going to cinch it up right close to the plastic. Okay, so there's your first knot. That's going to secure the top of the sidewall string very tight the way that knot is held. The next knot that we're going to do is called an interlocking knot. And you want to go through the next hole, diamond hole, below the one that you just went through. And that hole right there is the next hole. This one here, we just went through this one. Now we're going to go through this one. And we're going to go through the next hole in the plastic, which is this one right here. Okay, so first, go from outside to inside of the plastic. Get this string out of the way. And then you're going to go from face to back of that next mesh hole. Face to back. Pull that tight. And it should look like this. When you pull it tight, it'll cinch it up tight to that next hole. And this is the beginning of your channel. Right here it's super taut, and that's what's going to start forming your channel. Now we're going to do this one more time. But this time we're just going to do a simple through the face to back of the next diamond below. So once again, I'll show you that again. We just interlocked this diamond here to the sidewall, and we're going to go a simple front to back through hole of this diamond right here. Front to back, pull it tight. And keep your left thumb on the previous knot to keep it from coming loose. Now we're going to do another interlocking knot through the next hole right there. So we go through the plastic, outside to inside, through the next hole below the one that we just went through, right here, front to back. And we're going to pull it under the loop, the giant loop that we just made right here. So it's going under it. Just like that. And we're going to pull that tight. And these interlocking knots are best for consistency because they hold the mesh exactly in the same spot for a long period of time, and they don't wear out as fast. So again, hold that with your left thumb to keep it from getting loose, and we're on to the next knot. Now this customer wanted a high pocket, so I've given them a semi-decent channel, and they want a high pocket also, which is more difficult to make it's more difficult to make a channel in a high pocket that works well. So what I'm gonna have to do is I have my channel made so far. I'm just simply going to go through back to front through the next two diamonds. Back to front, and then again back to front without even going through the plastic. I'm going to cinch this up towards the top. And that's going to give me some excess mesh right here, which is going to give me more of a high pocket. That's called doubling up. Right now I'm just checking to see what pattern I'm going to do on the sidewall to make this high pocket, which is something that you should check out as you're stringing. You should not wait till the end to see if the pocket turns out right. Constantly as you're going through it, check to see, is my pocket high? Is my pocket low? Will it have a channel? Just so you don't have to unstring the entire thing and start all over again. So far it looks pretty good. So we've gone through those last two holes. Now we're going to do another interlocking knot with the next diamond below that one. So we've gone through two, front to back, front to back. Now on the next one we're going to go through the plastic, outside to inside, through the bottom, through the hole, front to back, and through the loop. And this is another interlocking knot. I'm going to check the pocket again. It's looking good. Now we're going to do another interlocking knot for the next diamond and the next hole in the plastic. So we're going to go through the plastic outside to inside, mesh front to back through the loop of the sidewall string and pull it tight. We're going to do one more of these. Same type of thing. Outside to inside, front to back through the loop, pull it tight. Now that we've approached the bottom, we are going to go through the last diamond, this diamond here, right there. We're going to go front or back to front now, and then inside to outside on this very last plastic hole. So inside to outside. And this we're not going to pull as tight as the rest of them. We're going to leave a little bit of slack, just barely enough for it to move around to keep the ball from getting stuck at the bottom of the head. And then we're just going to tie a conventional knot to hold that. Cinch it up real close to the plastic. Okay, now you don't want to cut this string yet because maybe you have to restring the sidewall just in case the pocket didn't come out the way you wanted. But so far it's looking like it's going to come out well. Okay, so now we take our next sidewall and we basically just repeat the same process just on the other side. So you make your figure 8 knot again, your 8er knot. The third hole down from outside to inside. First hole with the thin side. Back or front to back. Back through the same plastic hole. And then front to back again through the same mesh hole. And cinch that up real tight. Then we're going to go to the next hole in the plastic. Outside to inside. Front to back through the next hole in the mesh. Through the loop. And pull it tight. We're going to hold that down with our left thumb, keep it tight. Then just for reference, if you've forgotten, you can check the other side to make the other side symmetrical to this side. So it looks like we went through a plain diamond front to back. So we go through a plain diamond front to back. And the next thing that we did was we did another interlock on the next diamond. So we go through out to in. Front to back, through the loop, and pull it tight. Okay, now for reference again, we check the other side. We go through 2 diamonds, front to back. There's 1. There's 2. Almost. There we go. Oh. There's 2. And then it looks like we interlocked the next diamond on the next plastic hole. So we go outside to inside again. Front to back through the next hole. Through the loop. And pull it tight. Next one, we go through the back or outside to inside again. This is another interlocking knot, back to front, or front to back, through the loop, and pull it tight. Our final interlocking knot, outside to inside, front to back, through the loop, pull it tight. Now we close it off, the last diamond going back to front and inside to outside in the last hole on the left side of the head, leaving a little bit of slack to keep the head from getting illegal and pinching the ball at the bottom. We finish it off with a conventional knot, cinch it up tight to the plastic, and now this is when we make our pocket. Before we put the bottom string in, we make our pocket. Okay, so we're just going to test her out, see how she's holding up. Looks like she's going to form a nice mid-high pocket. I'm going to grab a pocket pounder. Okay, she's looking good. She's got a nice little channel. Now, we cut the sidewall strings because it ends up the way that we wanted. We're going to leave about 1.5 inches on both sides. Now save one of the excess. You can throw the other away. Make sure we burn these ends. And then we burn the end of the excess that we just cut. Oops, sorry about that. There we go. This time we're just going to do a conventional knot. We're going to leave about 1 inch excess. This is for the bottom string. Now, the Proton Power only has 2 holes for the bottom string. And normally, hold on 1 second as I fix this camera. There we go. Normally we have 4 holes. And in the case of 4 holes, I would go through the inner 2 holes first, out through the bottom of the next hole to the side of it, and come up around. But in this case,